To be honest with you, these sorts of items make us the most money and have for probably the last 15 or 20 years. We make far more on these small, tiny items than we do on most of the other stuff that we sell. We almost exclusively these days stick to smaller items as well because they take up so much less space, they're easy to store, easy to ship, and extremely easy to list. These are also our bread and butters across the board in many different areas. Hey, it's Don. Today we're going to look at some items from a haul, a small haul here. This is a bulk purchase. There's about 100 or so, maybe it's actually more than that, individual different items here. Now, we were out looking to pick up some slides. They were 35mm slides. And less than a mile from there, a very short distance from the pickup, there's another place, a place that we've been to, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, that we found a few things at. We decided we weren't going to take another trip out there, but since we were right there, I stopped by this other place. They had a half price sale on all sorts of different things, a whole section, anything in these little bags and stuff, and half the store shelves were half price. The woman who owns the store added it all up on her phone, clicked half off. That came to just under $60, and she let us have it all for 45 bucks. So for 45 bucks, I walked out of the store with everything we're going to show you in just a second here. So some of this is steady revenue for us. It's small, as I said. It takes up very little space. It's easy to ship, easy to store, and easy to list. Let's have a look right now. You'll have to excuse the noise in the background. We've got a roaring storm going on outside. So all told, whatever you see the prices, I paid 40 cents on the dollar for that. So if the item was $1, I paid 40 cents. It said 50% off, all the stuff in there, but at the end of the day, they just gave me a lump sum price, and it was pretty much across the board, 40%, 60% off. I paid 40% of the value. So I'm fine with that. Now, again, it may not look like a ton of stuff or anything super fancy. It's all vintage. Let's look at what's in here first, because I think this is some of the better stuff, to be honest with you. And we'll start with this too. Now, I'm not sure what Pim's was, or wasn't sure, I should say. It's a Pim's cup is what this is. I remember hearing it in Archer, the animated series. Good series up till, I think, season 6 or so. But anyway, this was $3, so I spent, what, $1.20 on this. It's worth 10 or 15. I'll probably hang on to it because one of the kids actually always thought that was funny, the Pim's Cup aspect, that episode. But anyway, either way, it's a good item. It's marked. It's everything it should be. It's a Los Angeles company, well made. It's vintage. It's original. It may, if I cleaned it up, I may have been able to get 15 or 20, so we'll see. Again, some of these were, like this one here, $3.50. I paid 60% off that price, so what would that be, $120? Like 130 something. Now this is a key tag, a keychain basically. It's an advertisement for Shamrock Service in Leroy, New York. It's probably from the 50s. I've sold, I don't know, a half dozen or more of these types. Whenever I see them for advertising purposes, I always grab them up. My list price on this would be at least $34.50. And I wouldn't doubt getting maybe half that because it's a gas station. And then the other side is like a universal mechanic on duty, which is pretty cool. That's the price they had on them. The only reason I even stopped here because we were literally like, I don't know, a tenth of a mile away from it. I've been to the place once, maybe twice, quite some time ago. We found a few things, but, you know, it was out, you know, I was hopping around. Now this is gold filled. It's St. Francis, which is a local school. This is just one of the keys. It's gold filled though, and it's by Kinney, which was one of the main companies around here. It's just the key with the logo on it. So again, 40% is what I pay to this, so 80. It would be less than $1. Any day of the week, I'd grab one of these. If you went to get a new one of these, or you know, to replace one, it would probably cost you about 70 bucks or so these days. So anyway, those always sell. Now these turned out that they were sterling. They're vintage, 1920s or so. It looks like there's a signature, and they are marked on the inside. That's usually where they mark them. I do very well with this, and they're actually pressed out. I think it's supposed to be a figure on them, and they are marked. Sometimes they're marked right there. Sometimes they're marked on the inside down into there. And then sometimes they're marked on one of these sections here, but this one is marked on there. It's definitely silver without a doubt. Nice pair, and what did I pay for them? So that would be $1.20, like $1.30 or so. These are the type of items I list for $34.50 all day long. I never have a problem. I just put them up, leave them, forget about them. Something I should probably get 15 or 20 bucks for at the end of the day. With a good title, maybe clean them up. I don't know. Some of these I don't even clean up usually, just because they're vintage, they're early. Now, as I've said in many videos, small stuff do the best for us. I've had 2 or 3 of this one right here. Now, this one here, I'm gonna rip out. This one here, I get probably around 30 or 40 bucks for almost all the time. It's small, it's almost always lost. And this one, just like all the other ones, I'm sure, if there's no tarnish on the back, we have a gold one. I don't think I've seen one this small like this that wasn't. And it does look to be correct. So this one should be worth about 30 bucks here. They're gold or gold filled, every single one of these. It's a nice enamel on it. It was a small one. I'm not sure where it would even have went, but every one of these tiny ones like this, in this condition, with all the enamel work, the whole works, the original back screw, and it's marked on there too. So it's got an interesting name. It's all original, made by one of the lodges, I'm assuming too. So that's an excellent piece there. Let's keep that. I do a lot in cufflinks. I mean a lot in cufflinks. The fishing ones, these are bass jumping out of the water. Very obvious. Last set I got 24 bucks out of them. I sold a set of these as well that was the cufflinks and then a bar, a Ty-Tac bar with the same fish on it, and that was like 40 bucks or so. The fish ones I do extremely well. You put fly fishing in the title, fishing, big mouth, largemouth bass and things like that in it. They do extremely well. This is probably 30s or 40s era right there. They're vintage, they're early. Also too, if it's gold filled, it's usually marked there. A couple of these are gold filled. This one's gold filled right here. This one has an 1880s date on it. So this set right here is really an early one. Not worth a fortune, but for $1, well actually it's less than that. So for 80 cents on this one here, hang on if I can get it out. These are definitely early. I got it stuck in here somehow. There we go. They are marked. There is a marking, and it's marked right on the underside of this. It's an interesting style. These are usually earlier ones. They don't hold up though, is what I would say from my opinion. It's got a maker's mark on it down there too. It's got a metal content mark, which that is what that looks like it is possibly. Maybe that's an 88 or something like that. Sometimes the gold filled is heavy gold filled and it comes out to about 8 karat or something like that. But these are true Victorian, made in the 1880s, and they were 80 cents. 15, 20 bucks. There's not a ton of collectors for these style, but there will be some to buy at that price, no doubt about it. These again are the types of items I just put them up and then I forget about them. They'll sell. I'll sell a couple items right away. I'll get all my money back, and then I'll be making money from that point forward. These are sterling too. You can pretty much tell. There's a mark on them that says 9.2 and you can't read the rest of it. So I'm very sure that's what they are. That's mother of pearl. These are, again, 80 cents plus tax. I didn't have my tax ID with me or anything else like that, so I did pay tax on these. But they're, without a doubt, in fact, I think you can see there's another mark, 935. Oh, no, I'm sorry, 835. They're 835. So these are European more than likely, or they could be from Mexico somewhere or something like that. But they're well made. They're fairly heavy. These together probably weigh half an ounce or so, I would say. I know there's some mother of pearl, but that's pretty thin. Could even be an abalone, but I think it's mother of pearl. They're really nice, 1920s, maybe even back to 1910-ish. You'll see similar designs later on, but these are very thin. The way they bend and everything, the way they're marked, the tarnish level on them, they haven't been touched. They're very nice. So for, 80 cents, I'll probably get maybe, I don't know, 20, 25 bucks out of those at the end of the day. Now this is a Fraternal Order of Eagle, and that's a Masonic pin. Now the Eagle items I don't get a ton of money out of, but this is an actual tie clip, tie tack, and that I would. It's got the whole works, and it does look to go together. It's got the same tone tint, the whole works to it. 15-20 bucks for something like that. Fraternal Order of Eagle, FOE. And this one was 40 cents, so I can't beat that one there. Now this one, what would that be? 80, just about $1 or so, and it's an Olympic tie pin of some sort, just a decorative pin from 1980 Olympics. It is not gold filled, but it is maker marked, and I could probably track that down online. There's other ones. They sell for about 10 or 15 bucks. I'll put it up and just forget about it. When I'll sell this is when the next Olympics comes around. There'll be collectors popping up again. Now this one would be 20 cents. This one's a hockey team, St. Louis Blues. I don't know if that's a player or not, but these sorts of things I get, I don't know, 10, 15 bucks for them usually. If it's a family member or somebody who's on the team or something, it might go for double that. It just depends. Depends on who's on and, you know, who's looking at it. Now here's another. This is an earlier one. This one I paid up for, I guess you would say. So this was $2 and, I don't know, 30 cents or something. Let's just rip it open. It's stapled and I don't want to screw it. Is this one stapled? Oh, no, it's not. Yeah, we'll just rip it open anyway. I already got the total written down, so. This one's a real early one here, and I'm not even sure on what the ornateness of it is. Looks like a flower or something on the bottom. It's early. Looks like it has the original discs. Probably circa World War I or before. It's not a military piece or anything, but let's take off the back real quick. Probably gold filled or something maybe. Either way, this one's probably about a $34.50 list price. Sell it maybe in that range. That's a decent looking item, I would say, without a doubt. These small items like this do so well for us because they're lost. Things like this just don't stick around very well. They're easy to get lost, easy to drop, easy to get damaged. So when they do show up, they sell fairly nicely. Let's get that out of the way. Another Masonic piece, and this one you can clearly see STER for sterling with a maker name. This was $2 and some odd cents again. This is a 25-year service for the Grand Lodge of Ohio for the Masons. This is a $15 or $20 pin. It's fairly heavy, so decent chunk of sterling. Here's another pair of turn of the century. This would fall in the Victorian era, which I've got another set of Victorian ones. It was 80 cents. True mother of pearl, all cut. Very nice pinwheel, spinny kind of design on it. Nice chain style, gold filled, I would say, without a doubt. Now there is some sort of mark down in there, but I'll have to get a loupe out to be able to read it. Either way, it's a nice early pair for 80 cents. I'll probably put $34.50 on it. Victorian, mother of pearl, gold filled, chain link, cuff links, something along that line. We'll save this one for last because that one's the best thing in this little jewelry section here. Now this again came all together. At the end of the day, it was 45 bucks. Now we just looked at one that had the same type of function on the back of it, and that was sterling, and this is sterling as well. And this one's nicely marked. Well, this one's actually 800, so again, this one would probably be a European, a British one, and it has a cat's eye on the face of it, and it moves whichever direction you turn it. It looks like it's following you. Really, really nice pair. There we go. They both line up this way. The grain of the stone itself, or whatever you want to call it, they would move differently if the grain's going in a different direction. It does look like eyes, to be honest with you. Cat's eye like this, I'll probably put $57.50 on this one here. And it was around 90 cents or so, somewhere in that range. So that one's pretty cool. And let's do, I think there's another cufflink. Now these are Art Deco here. And I think we got another pin and a couple other little things here. Okay, so now these are the same basic thing here. AM double, EK with a horseshoe. Now, I don't know. I'm going to have to look that one up because they're nicely marked. I would probably say it's double, as double plated or double gold or something like that. Looks like real stones to me. Yeah, it looks like stones to me. That might be abalone or something, but that does look like stones. It's got that feel to it. Yeah, those are pretty nice either way, but Art Deco or before, even like 1920s era, I would say. Very fancy looking to me. I don't see a price on this one. All the other ones were in that same range. I couldn't imagine this one being any more than that. I don't know what happened to the price. Must have fallen off, but it all came with this lot, so anyway. I'm not going to take this one out, but it's a 50-year, let's see, Red Cross or something along that line from Germany. It's probably 1920s or 30s by the looks of it. This was like 90 cents. That's pretty cool. 15, 20 bucks, I would gather. Let's show this one next. This one's probably my favorite out of this entire thing here. These are worth some good money, and you can look these up on eBay yourself right now. Only go to the ended listings, sold listings. Don't even waste your time looking at active. If you're not looking at ended sold, you won't see these. These are religious medals. They're official. They're Italian. One of these sells right now for 100 and I think 50 bucks or more than that even. And the other one sells for 70 to 80. They have relics, a piece of fabric. This says Pradu, linen touched to the holy tongue of the saint. And I would imagine that's the saint on the other side. These two right here, these two pieces that were, what would that, 90 cents? Are worth over $200 on eBay right this very second. You can look them up. They're saint relics. This one here says Saint Peregrine, and it's again a relic from him. It's got an Italy mark. It actually has, maybe that's a 925 right there. I don't have my loupe handy, but that could be a 925. Some of these are gold. I've had gold ones even. Like this little tiny one. Even these little tiny ones are worth looking at. Because you get the right one. I'll have to get a loupe out on that one. It doesn't look to be tarnished. It doesn't look to have a scratch. Some of these like this are gold. And this one's only worth like 5 bucks. But the two relics in here, that's where all the money's at. So right there with just those two little relics, I'm going to quadruple almost our return on this investment. So, and then this is Susque Bell, Fort Stevenson. It was cosmetics privileges. So this person was allowed to sell cosmetics and do cosmetic work at the actual fair, I guess you'd call it. So this was 40 cents right here. 40 cents for this piece. 15, 20 bucks. This is a 1949 token. That's, again, another Mason's token, and I figure they probably got these all from the same ad. That's really tight in there. I'll have to yank it out. But it's got a date. Usually they would be filled out, and this one is. It's got the person's name, information, and I believe it's actually this same person here. It's all dated from the same time frame. So this is like their little membership to the club, I guess you would say. Now this is a viewer, and it would be $1.20-ish or so, $1.25, something like that. And it's a viewer from the Cliff House, and it's from 1959. You could have mailed this. You could have just dropped a stamp on it, and it would show up just like this with the chain and everything, which is just wild to think about today. No one in their right mind would do that today. I figure this is probably worth about 50 bucks, to be honest with you. Look these sorts of things up. So it's basically a viewer keychain is basically what this is. Very interesting, very unique. This one's pretty cool. So there's hundreds of dollars here in these little tiny items. I think this is a Protecto, is it? Yeah, it's a Protecto. That's a brand name. I always look for Protecto. P-R-O-T-E-C-T hyphen another O. And that's the name I look for. Made in Taiwan. I've seen a few that were marked made in Hong Kong. These fish I get about 15 bucks for. The bigger the better. The larger the more expensive with this. But any of these little tiny items I always do very well with. So we've basically got $1.25, something like that. The brand name in general does extremely well. The wife's going to keep this. She's got all kinds of fish in our bathroom. We've got the 50s wall mount chalkware ones on the wall with the bubbles and the whole works and the seahorses. So this fits right in there with that. Probably 50s, mid 50s into the early 60s range. I always do extremely well. I grab every one of these I see. Again, small is what's best. Now this one was 80 cents. And it's a marked doll. I don't remember the name, but somebody out there will remember. It's marked either on the back of the neck or something. I'm not going to spend the time to get her outfit off. Probably 10 or 15 bucks. Obviously a 1960s era doll. Whether the outfit's correct or not, I'm fine selling it just the way you see it. It's pretty cute. The bows match the color of the outfit pretty closely. Her hair wasn't cut. Her face looks good. The eyes aren't scratched. She even has her lipstick on there. No fingernail polish, but you know, that's expected on most of these. It's not a cheaper like blow mold toy either. It's a well-known brand. I can't remember the brand, but that one's pretty interesting. Now these were 40, 50 cents, and I think there's like 5 or 6 Partridge Family trading cards. Trading cards like this, I have no problem selling them whatsoever. I've been collecting, buying, selling, trading vintage non-sports trading cards for, since like 1976. I used to swap 2 for 1. So if they wanted one of the cards I had, they were giving me 2 cards, and they could finish their sets, and I always got a ton of extras and was able to keep going with my business. So I say business, it really wasn't a business, but so these are pretty easy to sell. They sell for 2 or 3 bucks a piece, either way you go. Now these here are again trading cards. These were 20 cents a piece, any of the 50-cent items on here. They're like 2 or 3 bucks a piece. I'll sell them in a lot. Again, these are trading cards. I won't have any problem selling them. They may sit, these may sit for just a little bit, but the earlier ones from the 50s. So older the better on these as well. There were some other ones. Do I got some more here? Yeah, okay, here's some other ones here. Black Power Ranger. This is a $15 or $20 card. It's from Trix. It is an original. Still in the sealed wrapper. 1994, so it's vintage. It's bordering on the 30-year mark. You flick it. Some of these are like triple ones that you'd find from Post Cereal that would be like for baseball from the 70s. They've been around this technology for a very long time. Here's a couple more of these. So again, the larger the set, they're all 53. There was a couple other versions and sets of these. Now, I actually have some of these still, and this would have been $1.20 right here, that I got actually out of the bread myself. And they had Addams Family, I think, is in this one too, and this just tells you the actual magic tricks themselves. But this is the checklist, and I always buy the checklist if it's $1 or $2, because the checklist is usually marked. Most of the time you run into it. So an unmarked, excellent condition, you know, no issue checklist usually does very well. If I graded this, like let's say this would grade really high, the checklist card will be one of the more sought after, as well as card number 1, because most of the time kids tied it together or they used a rubber band and it always damaged the first and last card. This would be the last card, number 1 would be the first card. So those are the 2 cards I'll always pay a little more for as well. Now, there was, let's see here, 54 of these cards, 1972, Burger King official cut. I mean, you didn't have to cut these out. These are actual postcards on postcard stock of a love symbol on there. And there's, again, 54 of these. These sell for about $10 a piece. I could give these away and sell them a little quicker if I put them down for $5.99 or so with no best offer, $5.99, buy it out the door. I can sell these on at least 3 different sites, so these should be an easy $200 after everything is said and done. And what did I pay for these? $1.20, $1.35 or something in that range. I hadn't seen these before, to be honest with you, and I don't remember these as a child. I think we almost always went to McDonald's, my parents, so I don't even know if we had a Burger King in the area back in the day, but that's pretty cool. I love postcards. I do my own postcard designs and sell those. I've been selling vintage postcards for years. I got thousands and thousands of them up, so that was really cool. Now this is fairly scarce. Maybe 3 or 4 of these show up every year or so. It's a little vinyl, early Mickey Mouse, and it's production, so it isn't original. It's got a little wear. Well, I think that's just a leatherish, because I think it's like leather on one side. Yeah, I guess it's all vinyl. Maybe a park item there. So this would have been $4, $5, $6.50 or so. About 20 bucks, I would say. And it has flicker eyes. The eyes wink at you. Excellent condition, to be honest with you. It has what looks to be the original chain. It's an original early zipper, so this is one of the first runs of this. The color's a little different. Doesn't look to be faded or anything else like that. So this is like one of those vinyl ugly doll things that you'd see from the 60s almost, and that's how I would title it. Now, I'm not going to take this out because there's needles in here, but this was 80 cents. And it's a Sterling Dairy Stores. If you're not familiar with dairy products in general, you're new to like collectibles and vintage dairy items, there's a ton of milk collectors, I should say, that collect the bottles and anything that comes from the dairy company that produced specific ones. Small towns are best. This is one from this local area. They've got many stores. You can see a needle that's already slipped out of there, but these little needle folders I usually get about, I don't know, 15, 20 bucks. This will probably be listed for 34.50, and we'll just see what happens. Now, these are cereal, I think Wheaties or something from the 50s as well. Now these are metal. I get about $8 or so for each one of these that I ever run into. I usually put them up, say, $19.99, $24.50, and just let them ride for a while and see. Then they'll go on sale. I can almost guarantee you these will sell. I've had dozens and dozens of these in the last few years. I don't have any in stock listed right now, and I've listed these when I get them. So, and then this was pretty interesting. It's in, I guess, Spanish. I didn't take Spanish. I took German in high school, so I don't really know. But it's a Raphael Tuck, and I spent $1.20 on it. Raphael Tuck items like this sell fairly well. It's a Christmas card or a seasonal gift card. Somebody will know what that says, I'm sure. But I do extremely well with these sorts of things. I always nab them up. I mean, I can't go wrong with something Raphael Tuck. 1870s by the fancy angel mark on the back, too. I don't know how well you can see the angel mark on there. They yanked it out as something, I would say, too, but I'm not worried about that. It will sell just the way I see it. This is something I would list for at least $57.50, maybe $75, and then I would let it sit for a while if I don't get any action. Then it's going to go on sale for 30% off and see what happens from there. I don't think I have any more Raphael Tuck Spanish, German, or French cards in at all right this moment, and I always do extremely well with those. Now this one here, I am not 100% sure what this is, but I'm thinking this is an Order of the Arrow item, Boy Scout item. Maybe not. I can't find any specifics that tie it to an actual tribe. It looks like an Order of the Arrow patch to me, at least by the name, how it's spelled out. Rakatumi tribe, which sounds to me like it's like kind of trying to be a funny name for one. And that's really what I think. And it says Northwest Chief, H.A. Again, I've tried to look up this one here. And if I list this one and put Order of the Arrow, somebody's going to tell me pretty much immediately, and then I'll just change the title if it's not. But I think that's what this is. If you don't know what Order of the Arrow, I don't know how much I paid for this. Maybe it's this sticker right here. Yeah, that's probably the one from this one here. So this was 80 cents. Some of the Order of the Arrow patches can sell for $1,000. Boy Scout patches in general, some of those can sell for some, really good money. This doesn't look to be military or anything else like that. I might be off on it being Order of the Arrow, but I really think that it's tied to something like that because it has similar imagery in color scheme and design. This would date probably to the 50s by the looks of it. It does look to be early. It's well designed. It has like a satiny silk thread in there, so it's not a cheapo. It's got some decent fabric. It's lined. There's no glue on the back. It doesn't look like it ever had glue. If it's Order of the Arrow, this could be worth a couple $100 or more. If it's not, I'll probably still be able to get 15 or 20 bucks out of it just from a local person who knows what this is. There's nothing like it up, so I'll put it up extremely high, a few $100 at least, and just see what happens. So anyway, now here's something I've had before. And let me take this out because this is pretty unique. And if you've never seen one of these, I think it may be something that many of you will find quite interesting. If I can get it out. And I would have passed these up if I, wasn't right there because I wasn't going to this other store. I don't drive to that area. It's usually a waste of time. But again, I was getting all those slides. I got some projector lamps and the whole works. North Pole Records. And this is a little Christmas card. There's a 78 record inside of here. No kidding, there's a real 78 record in here. It does play, you got to be careful, but it will play on a standard 78 player. In some cases, these were recorded with a person's voice. Sometimes you could get these and they had like a pre-recorded 60 seconds of someone singing or 20 seconds of someone singing some Christmas song. I would imagine there's probably like some Bing Crosby of this sort out there somewhere, you know, from some promotional item or something, like a little pocket flex disc, which was very popular in the 60s and 70s. This predates that way, 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 way back. This would date probably to the, in fact, is there a date? No date. It's a real record, and it honestly is. This dates to the 50s, I would say, without a doubt, and it could date as early as like 1948, 49 era, I would gather, just by the sheer aspect of it. There were flexible cardboard discs around in the 1920s, and even slightly before that. There were disc a month, ones that they would just send you in this, cardboard mailer, and it was a cardboard disc. I have some, they were hit of the week, I think is what it was called, maybe, and you get one a week. It was cheaply made, one side, the whole works. And it was similar to this. This is just one side. I got $24.50 out of the last one, and it sold around Christmas time, if I remember right. So yeah, I'll put it up. It'll be there for a little bit. What did I pay for it? Like less than $5. So either way, this is a decent item. They don't show up very often. It's a shame that it was written on, but that's fine. I'm happy with it either way you go. This has tape on it, so we're going to just discard that or fold it over, I guess. Now these are more tops. This was for $5 or so, and there's like 15 or 20 of them. This is a Topps chewing gum, and they were, basically trading cards. There's 2 or 3 sets of them. The political ones seem to be doing the best on it. I think they were some kind of weird Valentine or something like that. Anyway, these do extremely well. This is about $20, $25. I wouldn't have bought it at $16.50, no way on earth, but $5. Oh, there's 23 of them, so that's even better. I'll probably split them up into 2 lots, list them for $19.99 for each of the 2 lots, 11 in one, 11 in the other, and then go from there. So I'll get some decent return on that one too. Now this was pretty cool. So what would that be? $1.20, $1.35 or something like that. Now I just looked at it briefly and then realized that it's an official United States Postal Service item, and it originally sold for $8.95. There's $8.95 worth of stamps in this book. I paid $1.30 something for face value. I could put these on use them for postage. They're all in here. There's one sheet. I think there's one more in the beginning. Yeah, there's the other sheet. They're real stamps. These are real, self-adhesive stamps. This booklet goes for about 15 or 20 bucks. I'll list it up high. It's like in mint condition. It's got a piece of tape or something right there, which I think I can get off without doing any harm to it. There we go. So that's pretty cool. That was the last item I purchased with this lot. This was just an added freebie of me going to do the pickup. I usually don't stop at places like this. I usually don't go out of the way to go to places like this. If I'm right down the street and it would take me, a minute or 2 to go to it, I went to it, and that's exactly why. Well, there we have it. Hopefully that gave you some ideas, some thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified if I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell all your friends.
My baloney has a first name, it's O-S-C-A-R. My baloney has a second name, it's M-A-Y-E-R. Oh, I love to eat it every day, and if you ask me why, I'll say, 'cause Oscar Mayer has a way with B-O-L-O-G-N-A.
Oscar Mayer, the first name in Bologna.
How's that?